Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Sam Norris here, the property investors broker. Today we're going to be talking about bridging finance and being very specific. As you can see, I'm sat here in front of the laptop and I have asked ChatGPT a very specific question, which I'll read out to you now. You are a new property investor with limited to no experience when it comes to using property finance. You are looking to flip properties and follow the BRR method to buy, refurbish and refinance properties. So basically flip or BRR properties to build a property portfolio. You have a consultation booked with a specialist broker at Grand Union Finance. What 10 burning questions do you have about bridging finance for the call? So on this video, I'm going to run through all the questions that ChatGPT has given me, the burning questions that you are probably thinking about at home, and I'm going to go through them live. I haven't even read them yet, so stick around. Hi everybody, welcome back to the video. Now, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please do so. Don't forget also to click the little bell so you get alerts when all new videos are added to the channel. And today we're talking about bridging finance, and not just bridging finance, but specifically the burning questions, the 10 burning questions that you as a newbie property investor that is starting out in their career in terms of flipping properties, building their portfolio through the BRR strategy are gonna want to know. I've asked ChatGPT what the 10 burning questions are, and I'm going to roll through them one by one. I haven't seen any of them yet. I'm literally going to read them out and I'm going to answer them. So here we go. Bit of a tester for me. Burning question number 1. How does bridging finance actually work? And how is it different from a standard mortgage? This is an absolutely fantastic question, because this is a question that most of our clients will ask when we first jump on a call with them. So for all intents and purposes, a bridging loan is very similar to a mortgage. You are borrowing against the value of a property. Typically 75% is where we start with each. Now, one of the differences between a mortgage and a bridging loan is, of course, the speed in which you're going to repay it. On a bridge, you might have 12 months. On a mortgage, you might have 25 years. On a buy-to-let mortgage, you're paying back the interest monthly. On a bridging loan, you're probably paying it all back in the end. The interest will be included in the loan. Another big difference when it comes to the two of them is how quickly the bridging loan versus the mortgage can be set up. Bridging loans tend to be a lot quicker because lenders are more agile. They're going to ask less questions. We're going to be able to do valuations quicker, sometimes online, and the legals generally can be done whilst we're actually doing the underwriting. With a mortgage, it's more of a methodical sort of one thing after another type process. So there are some of the big differences between a mortgage and a bridging loan, and that's kind of how bridging works. So the second question, when it comes to what ChatGPT believes a newbie property investor wants to know about bridging, is how much of the purchase price and refurbishment costs can I borrow? Cracking question. Again, another question that we get asked a lot. So that question again, how much of the purchase price and the refurbishment can I borrow when it comes to a bridging loan? Well, when it comes to a bridging loan, you don't necessarily have to borrow for the refurbishment, but some refurbishment bridging does allow you to do that. You'll get a pot of funds to start with, which covers up to 100% of the cost of doing that renovation for a flip or a BRR. And then you will also tend to get up to 75% day one of the purchase price or day one value if there is a difference. So that overall cannot go above generally 65% of the end value or GDV. And overall, they probably won't lend you more than 85% of the cost, so the purchase price plus the works. So in terms of how much can you borrow, 65% of the NGDV and 85% of the costs. Which leads us on to question number 3, when it comes to your burning questions that ChatGPT thinks you property newbies are going to want to know about bridging finance. And that is, what experience do I need to qualify for a bridging loan? Cracking question, and again, one that we get asked a lot. This is not that much of a straightforward question to answer, actually, because it depends on the lender. Some lenders will require you to have loads of experience, particularly if you're doing big projects like HMO conversions, so like large HMOs, like 8, 9, 10 bedroom HMOs and beyond, or larger development projects, maybe commercial to residential conversions or ground up developments. But generally, there are a number of lenders out there where you don't need any experience at all. If you don't have any experience at all, they might leverage the fact that you have an asset base in the background or you've got good levels of income. But typically, you don't necessarily need any experience at all when it comes to taking out bridging finance or doing refurbishments. When it comes to taking out a bridging loan, there are lenders out there for you that will be able to help. And now we move swiftly on to question number 4 in your burning questions that ChatGPT thinks that you want to ask me when it comes to bridging finance. and that is how quickly can funds be released once an offer has been accepted. Well, this is a little bit of a how long is a piece of string scenario, because again, it comes down to which lender we want to use. There are some very, very cheap lenders out there that very much act like mortgage lenders, where they're going to take quite a long time to get things done. But if time is of the essence, maybe you're buying at auction, or you have agreed a very, very short turnaround time when it comes to completion with your vendor, then it can be done in a matter of weeks, maybe even a matter of days. If we can do an online valuation, or an AVM as we call it, automated valuation manager, and we can do soft touch legals, maybe there's dual representation, the lender can have the same solicitor as you, we can genuinely get this done in a matter of days. You've just got to be vigilant to getting the documentation information available to the lender that they need, and you need to be working with a very, very good solicitor who can do things double quick. And this leads me on to question number 5, not 4, but 5, when it comes to the burning questions that ChatGPT think that you want to ask me when it comes to bridging finance. And that is, what fees and interest should I expect, and how are they paid? Great question. So when it comes to fees and interest on a bridging loan, the interest is paid on a monthly basis, differing to a mortgage, which is generally on an annual basis. And generally the fees are deducted from the loan. 2% is typical for most bridging lenders. Some will charge you an exit fee as well, but most won't. But that interest monthly will either be rolled up, so added on with every month, or it will be deducted. So the whole amount of interest will be deducted from the loan day one. Generally speaking, this means there's no monthly payments to be made. So when it comes to repaying the loan, you will either sell the property once you refurbished it, or refinance the property onto a mortgage, and that is how we repay that bridging loan. The next question, question number 6 in the list of ChatGPT's questions that it thinks that you, the newbie property investor, wants to ask me about bridging. Can I use bridging finance to fund auction purchases or properties that need work? Well, this is kind of like 2 questions in one. Cheating, ChatGPT. The answer to the first one is yes, and the answer to the second one is yes. Generally speaking, bridging finance is very quick. We can do it in the 28 days needed to purchase properties at auction. And you can also use it to purchase properties that are normally unmortgageable. You might see these on agents' websites where it says cash buyers only. It's because they believe the property isn't fundable, when actually what they really mean is it's not unmortgageable. You can buy those properties with a bridging loan because they'll accept that you're going to be doing works to it to add value, and you're going to be exiting very, very quickly. You're going to be paying it back by selling the property, or you're going to be paying it back by refinancing the property. So yes, you can buy a property using a bridging loan when either buying auction for speed or a refurbishment project that might not be mortgageable. Which leads me on to question number 7 in the list of questions ChatGPT thinks you want to ask me about bridging finance. And this question is, what kind of securities do lenders require, and can I use more than one property? Well, the answer to the first question is pretty much anything is an asset, from land through to half-built properties, through to empty properties, properties that are in need of massive renovation, HMOs, commercial properties, anything you can think of that is a physical, tangible asset, most bridging lenders can lend against. Some lenders won't lend against certain types like commercial or land, but there is a lender for all those different types of assets. And the answer to the second question is, and again, it's a bit of a cheat question, 2 questions in one. Can I use it on more than one property? Absolutely, you can. In fact, bridging finance is a specialist type of finance where you can lend against multiple properties. And you can also mix and match when it comes to first and second charges. So you could get a first charge on the property you're buying, and you might have a property in your portfolio with a load of equity in it, but it's got a mortgage against it, and we can get a second charge on that one. So you blend those two together, and you can use the available equity to help you purchase properties. This allows you to borrow a little bit more, put a little bit less money into that new deal, and it means you can hold some funds back for the next deal. Which leads us on to question number 8. I'm running out of fingers now. In the burning question that ChatGPT thinks that you want to ask me as a property investor about bridging finance, and that is, how does the exit strategy work, and what if things don't go to plan? Now, an exit strategy is how you're going to repay your bridge. Typically speaking, it's either by remortgaging it onto a standard buy-to-let or HMO mortgage or whatever it might need to be, or you're going to sell it, and that's what we call a flip. So that's how we exit it, but what happens if things go wrong? Well, typically we need to get some form of extension on that bridging loan. Now, if you're getting involved with talking to the lender early doors, letting them know, keeping them in the loop with what's going on, it shouldn't be a problem. Most bridging lenders are going to be quite amenable, quite reasonable and understanding if you give them a few months notice that things haven't gone quite to plan. Generally speaking, they'll give you an extension, and sometimes they won't even charge you for the privilege of doing that. Sometimes they might charge you a pre-agreed fee or fine or something like that. But worst case scenario, if they're going to come down really hard, we can look at re-bridging, which basically is a form of like exit finance. It gives you, it's like remortgaging, but with another bridge. It's not ideal, but it can be done, so don't worry. Now, what I would say on this is do make sure that you're working with a good build team and that the time frame that they give you, you add a good contingency onto this and make sure this fits well within the term of your bridging loan so you don't come under this kind of stress later on. Which leads us on to question number 9 in the list of questions ChatGPT think you want to ask me when it comes to bridging finance, and that is, are there any key risks or common mistakes I should be aware of? I would say one of the biggest key risks, biggest problems, biggest mistakes that clients actually make is that they don't check their figures properly. When I say figures, I'm talking about not only the end value of the property, the GDV as we would call it, so making sure they're not going for the upper end of the range, they're looking at the middle to lower end of the potential range to cover themselves, they're adding that contingency in. And when it comes to the cost of works and the time frame that the works are going to be done within. So making sure that if it says 3 months that it's going to take to do the works, making sure that you've got enough time that it might take double that time, maybe 6 months. And if they say it's going to cost 100 grand to do the works, adding a 10% contingency, another 10 grand, maybe even another 20 grand onto that as a contingency to make sure that you're never, ever, ever short of cash when you need it. And the 10th and final question that ChatGPT thinks you guys want to ask me when it comes to bridging finance is, can you walk me through a real life BRR or flip example you've helped a client with? Or it's really, really pushing it now, but definitely I can go through a recent example. So we had a client that came to us that was in need of finance very, very quickly. They'd agreed a 3-week turnaround for a BRR project. Not only were we able to secure 75% of the day one value, and this was the value, not the purchase price. We actually based it off the open market value, which was slightly higher when the valuation was done. An automated valuation was done online, gave us a figure that was higher than the purchase price, and the lender lent off that. But we were also able to cover 100% of the works, which means overall, the client only needed to find about 30% of the entire deal. So they needed a few pounds to get the work started and about 20% of the purchase price as a deposit, which really, really helped the client not only secure the deal really, really quickly and get it across the line, but not have to put all the cash reserves they had into this deal. They were able to hold some back as a contingency for this project, but also there just in case another project came along that they were able to then invest in again. So there you have it, guys. ChatGPT has absolutely pushed me to the limits, asked me the questions that it thinks you guys want to ask me, but let me know in the comments, did it get it right? Are these the top 10 questions that you'd want to ask me? I'd love to know whether you think it's got this right or whether there's other questions that you think I should be answering. Add them to the comments below, and the best ones I will create new videos for. In fact, if I get another 10 that don't match up to these 10, I'll do this video again and I'll do it with your questions instead of ChatGPT's. If you want to book a call with one of the team at Grand Union Finance to discuss a bridging loan, there is a link down in the notes below where you can go and check the calendar, book a time with one of the team. We are specialists in bridging finance. We can help you out if you've got an auction purchase coming up, if you're looking at BRR flips and an HMO conversion, or you need something a little bit more, creative, maybe some kind of refurbishment finance or development finance for a commercial to residential conversion, or maybe you're buying a house, converting it into flats, that sort of thing. We are here to help you out. So just click the link in the description below. You'll be able to book a time. Or if you just want to try and get through to a broker straight away, you can use the number in the description below, 0121 828 1400, selecting option 1, and you'll get straight through to a broker. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a quick thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed already, please do and click the bell for alerts. I've been Sam Norris. This has been another property finance video. Join me next time. See you soon.